Otherwise, you can just use the up there. Maybe better Italian. Okay, so okay, so this one is down. This one is the laser. Okay. So
hello everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. And thank you, Joseph and Samir and the IEEE Consumer Electronic Society to organize such a great event. Tonight, I'm going to talk about Quantified Heart, how data can help us to understand more about ourselves. Okay. And what's the potential of this technology, and how we can use heart performance data to help us to prevent heart disease. My ultimate goal in life is to help you to learn something, some technology that can help us live longer and healthier. I want to start from my first job. I started my first job as an internal medicine doctor because my mom thinks that's a very cool job, and doctors always save people's life. When I went to work, I found out that the amount of disease I can treat, I can cure, is very limited. Most of the time, we just treat the symptoms and tell the story, explain the situation, let people feel better. They thank me for saving their lives, but I know they will come back soon. That's how doctors get their job script, isn't it? Right? And that's how I realized that disease prevention is much more important than treatment. When we talk about the future of medicine, we are not going to see a robotic doctor. The most important thing is that we are able to use the technology to transfer knowledge to ordinary persons, so everyone can be the CEO of your own health. It's very important that everyone can make the most important decisions for yourself. The first phenomenon we observed is a quantified self movement. As the smart sensor and mobile computing technology rise, and we are able to track all the things like how many steps we run, and what's your temperature, what's your emotion, what's your heart rate, and much more. So under this movement, everyone is just a walking data. All the data can tell you everything about yourself, your eating habit, your exercising habit, and are you doing the right thing? And it will help people to make healthier decisions and to promote, healthier lifestyle. And each year, we spend over $20 billion to buy those activity trackers, smartwatches, and heart rate monitors. However, from a professional standpoint of view, those data are far from enough to help you to make medical or health decisions. So that's why we want to step further. We want to look at inside, and we want to quantify your heart health. Why we start from heart? because that's the number one reason people die from. And about a quarter of people will eventually die from heart disease. And my youngest uncle, a few years ago, my youngest uncle suddenly died from a heart attack, just a month before his 40th birthday. It shocks me. He was very strong, and nobody thought like he can have anything like that. And you may also know that former President Jimmy Carter, his grandson, only 28 years old, and suddenly died from a heart attack. It's very dangerous because it's very hard to see our heart. It's very hard to feel what's wrong with our heart. So we need something. We need to know something about our heart. We need something like we can make a quick snapshot of our heart conditions on a day-to-day basis. In fact, our heart is always talking to us. It is radiating data every second. From the beginning of the disease until we have symptoms, we find it easy to treat it until people die from it. It takes years. And then we went through over 10 stages. Every stage, it will affect the heart functions differently. If we can catch this data and find those changes, it will help us to prevent heart disease. Before we talk about heart disease prevention, it's really a big concept. We don't have any measurement, we don't have any tool to understand what's the condition of our heart. We talk about heart prevention, it's like, this is good for your heart, that is good for your heart. How do we know which one is good for our heart? We have no measurement, we have no standard. One way to look at it is that actually, doctors always listen to our heart. We already spent over 100 years to study our heart sound. However, the ability for human ear to collect those information and data is very limited. That's why we apply advanced mathematical algorithm with years of professional experience to build this heart muscle performance monitor. It monitors your heart contractility, heart motility, stress, and heart rate. It creates a complete portfolio for your heart performance. You will have more complete understanding of your heart conditions. Then some of the terms may be new. Let me explain it. Heart contractility measures how hard your heart muscle is pumping blood and what is the workload. Your heart is nothing but a muscular pump. It works very hard to pump blood and meet the physical demand of your body. The key for prevent heart disease is to prevent burnout. And we have to understand what's the workload of your heart. It's just like the engine inside your car. You don't want to push too much. When you go outside, work out, when you run marathon, it creates extremely burden for your heart, and you don't want to run it every day. And the first person to run marathon died immediately after the running. Just like when you drive your car uphill, the resistance of your bloodstream will create burden for your heart. And that's why people who have high blood pressure will have heart disease eventually, because that's continuously apply pressure on your heart. The other thing we measure is heart motility. It reflects how flexible is your heart muscle. The heart muscle is like a rubber band. You can stretch it. But if you keep stretching it, it will break and form scar. That's why when you have symptoms, you will go to the hospital. doctor cannot do anything about it, just treat the symptom because the scar already formed. That's how our heart is getting older and getting aging. Because when we get old, the heart becomes stiff. That's why the heart motility is related to heart aging, and also a lot of research done at this area found out the heart motility is related to heart failure and hospitalization. It's really like the bellwether of your heart health. Our heart never sleeps. Its activity patterns reflect the overall health of your heart conditions. That's how heart motility mirrors your heart activity patterns. So we know the heart condition, your heart condition, and what's the stage and the elasticity of your heart. It's easy to see the wrinkles on your face, but it's hard to know the age of your heart. So that's why we need to measure it to monitor the process of your heart aging. That's very meaningful to understand how old is our heart instead of just looking at the face. It's really sometimes not related to each other. The system is so simple. We have a hardware device and they connect to your phone. You put on your chest for 20 seconds. It will record the signal and analyze it, give you the result immediately. When we go to gym, we want to train our heart to be stronger. How do you know it's stronger than before? And you promote your heart contractility and motility. You spend like thousands to hire a trainer, and they threw you hundreds of workout plans. Which one is good for you? And how do you know it's effective? We need something to measure it, to watch the progress. Let me give you some real-life examples. We went to the 2017 CES show earlier this year, and thousands of people visited our booth. Over 200 people have tried our device. And this young guy, in his early 20s, just came in and tested his heart. I found that his heart motility is in the red, which means his heart is very stiff. In other words, he's very old. And at this young age, and it looks very healthy, the only thing I can explain is he's an athlete. So I asked him whether or not he's an athlete. He was so surprised. He told me that he's a distant runner. So that's a very good example that if you don't exercise right, you are overusing your heart, and you're making your heart older faster than the natural process. The other example is that at the last day of CES show, everybody was tired, and a lot of people's blood pressure was out of control. And within one day, I found 6 people, their heart contractility is in the red, which means the heart workload is too high. Without any physical activity, just walk by and sit there. The only thing can explain is that they have high blood pressure, because especially when they at their 40s, 50s. So like I got 100% guess right. And most of them, like they told me that their blood pressure was out of control because the show is like too intense and the physically demand too high. A lot of people like to use coffee or energy drink to boost their energy level, right? To feel excited. However, it's not free lunch. Energy drink and coffee can push your heart to work harder, to pump more blood into your brain. So that's why you feel excited, feel brilliant. But we cannot do it for a long time. If your heart workload continuously keeps in a high level, the heart contractility always in a red zone, your heart will be fatigued. You will have heart fatigue, and eventually the heart will burn out. That's how heart disease happens. The other good way to prevent heart burnout is to do the 5-minute test. When you exercise, you go to the gym, you do workout or running, your heart contraction shoot up. That's normal because your heart has to pump blood to meet the physical demand. However, after you stop this exercise, your heart contractility should come back within 5 minutes. It's very important because if after 5 minutes, which means either the workout is too harsh for your heart, or maybe indicates you might have some heart conditions that you want to talk to your doctor. Of course, the sooner the better, which means you have better heart rhythm, but it has to come back within 5 minutes. It's really a scientific guidance for people, want to make their heart healthier, make their body healthier. We have to, have a good tool to monitor this to prevent overuse of your heart. It's also very important to build up your own baseline because each person is different. Each morning when you wake up, you want to check your heart and then see all the heart motility, heart contractility, because at that stage is most stable state, and you will build your own baseline. That's very meaningful when you're watching the trend, because at that stage, you did not drink coffee, you did not, think a lot of things, you're not tired. Those data is really the baseline for yourself. It's very good for you to watch the trend. If any morning when you wake up, you didn't do anything, but the baseline didn't suddenly shoot up, maybe it indicates something you want to talk to the doctor, or maybe you want to watch out what's happening there. So health data is very important because all the data you collect will help your doctor to understand your unique situation faster, so they can make better and accurate decisions for you. And also, all those data will help the system to understand your unique situation better to make better predictions. Think about it. If we can find out the problem months before, weeks before, maybe one day before, we can save people's life. So that's why when you build up your own health record, it's really to save your life for future. It's very valuable data for yourself. And also, we will compare your data with the population, so you will know, compare you to your friends, like engineers. You can compare your friends and see whose body condition is better and how to work together to make our lifestyle better. Quantified heart is just the beginning of quantified health. We can quantify everything, like our respiratory system, our digestive system, our brain activities. We do this is really because that's the easiest way to transfer knowledge. It's impossible for everyone to go to medical school for many years to understand our body, but these numbers can quickly tell you about your body, what's inside, and what's the whole picture of your health conditions. This is the first time patients became center of the health revolution. Before, it's all about doctors and technologies. And this time, the first time, patients became the center. In the future, our technology will be able to transfer all those knowledges to everyone, so everyone can be in charge of their own health. However, I don't disagree. I disagree that this picture drawn by a professional. They think that we should start as an ordinary person, consumer, should start from disease to diagnosis to prevention. That's not right, because there's over 10,000 kinds of diseases. It's impossible for everyone to spend years to understand this. We should, as a consumer, as an ordinary person, we should start from prevention. to learn how to use technology to understand our health, to live healthier, to avoid, to avoid burnout. Start from prevention, and the system will automatically diagnose the problems. Will give us alert if something is wrong, and then they will teach us what the kind of problem is, what's the disease, and then later the system will teach us how to manage it, how to cooperate with the disease. So that's what our goal, what our process is. That we start from prevention. So next generation product will have automatic diagnosis function, and then help people to manage their disease. The future is coming, and everybody believes that we will have pocket doctor in our hands. And I think today is the start. We start to transfer the technology, to transfer the knowledge to everyone, so we can easily to manage our health, and everybody can be the owner, the CEO of your own health. It's very important that you can make your own decisions for your own health. Thank you. Okay, any questions?
So how do you use this device?
We have a small device that connects to your cell phone. You put it on chest for 10 seconds, then you get it immediately.
So it's like a single lead set rather than a 12 lead or a 5 lead?
It is not EKG. You listen to the heart.
So you listen to the sound?
Yeah, because the sound is really completely reflects the physical activity of your heart. The electrical pulse is just one part of the heart functions, and we think the heart sound has more applications, has given you complete picture, more kind of limitations.
Any doctor uses this or agree with you, send you a data when we go to the doctor, and it's valid by
all those concepts is done by research. Actually, if you ask for an ordinary doctor, they probably don't know, because all this technology, all this, all done by research. So that's why I said we apply a lot of frontier research technology into this.
Are you going to initially offer this as a wellness product, or are you going to actually make it or offer it, launch it as a medical device?
It's a wellness product because we didn't make any diagnosis. The first thing. Second thing is that all those things is about your health. Those, heart contractility, motility is really related to your daily activities to help you to make smart decisions. It's really not about diagnosis. Our next generation product will have automatic diagnosis functions, but not at this generation.
So what's the foundation of those wellness statements? Because it seems like it's a fine line between, well, this is for your health versus do this because you're not going to get sick.
Because once you start talking about
we follow the guidance of general wellness product, and we didn't make any recommendations, we didn't make any diagnosis.
Do you see, it sounds like only 20 seconds here in the moment, but do you see like heart rate variability coming as a factor?
Right. The stress is usually measure the heart rate variability.
Hi, since you said that you actually listen to the heart, can I think of it as equivalent to, let's say I have a private doctor who comes to my house every day and listens to the heart? Hello? Yeah, so just trying to understand how the device works. So since you said that you listen to the heart, is it equivalent to actually having a doctor who comes home every day and then listens to my heart for 20 seconds and keeps it on and then analyzes it and then
that I told you before, it's much more accurate than human beings, because human ear can collect the information is very limited. And this device, on average, the doctor accuracy rate is about 40 to 80%, and this device is over 90%. So we are not doing the diagnosis because we without listening to the heart sound, what they do is they recognize the pathological patterns. So that's where we know the accuracy. But right now we are not doing diagnosis. So, but those kind of diagnosis is really functional. Human ear cannot hear that picture.
Sorry, just a follow-up. About the, okay, once you get the data, actual analysis.
Oh, sorry. We're holding the mic.
So once you collect the data, who actually analyzes?
Who
actually analyzes?
Who?
And like,
The computer. Yeah.
the smartphone.
The smartphone and the car. Yes, please.
How do you calibrate the sound that it is a good heart or bad heart? You have to have some calibration. So you hear some sound, but how will you say it is a good or bad?
We don't do any diagnosis. We just tell you function conditions. When you see good or bad, it's diagnosed. And we have the ability to diagnose heart problems, but at this stage, this product is a general wellness product. We are not be able to disclose this statement to you.
Oh, hi, I have a question. You did not tell us what you do with the data. What does do you do harmonic analysis, and what's your method to determine the health of the heart?
We look at the pattern of your heart sound, and we find the correlation between your heart sound and your heart conditions.
If you went into diagnosis, would that mean you need to get some kind of medical diagnosis?
Right. If we are disclose all those diagnosis functions, we have to get the FDA clearance. But now we are not going to disclose.
The device, is it holding your hand, or is it on a strap, or?
It's holding your hand.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the easiest way to get most accurate data. You know, there's a lot of people wearing wearables. The most important, the biggest fallout for wearable is that the accuracy is not enough to treat it as medical quality data. So that's why and also we don't need people to continuously monitor this because they can find the problems months before. You don't need to, wear it to get last minute money. People book their hotels months before. Why do you go to the hospital at last minute? So that's why we want people just check every morning or after exercise, and then you will find the problem months before.
Would you be able to collect more data if you were actually if it actually be on you during the exercise? Would you be more
during exercise, when you work out,
right,
you will create a lot of noise. So that's why I said
I see.
After you exercise, you marry immediately or at 5 minutes, you will know. You will see. Yeah.
So it's sensitive to background noise and stuff.
Not only background noise, because when you move, the device will and your body will have all of the noise. That's why wearable is not accurate.
Okay. If you still. Good.
How sensitive it's to placement? How accurate on the body?
The accuracy rate?
No, I mean how if the patient or the person wants to place it, how very thin can it be? Can you place it roughly in a particular area?
Oh, on our user manual, we will help people where to put it, and we will also have T-shirts that you can wear out and where to put your other device. So you will never lose that.
This is a very interesting product. Just a few weeks ago, I was in Taiwan. I did an EKG and a CT scan of the heart for preventive measures, and I got a report. And so I'm wondering, the parameters that you use, motility and contractibility, do you make any association or correlation with EKG or this result of a CT scan that shows the health of arteries? These are common tests for to measure your health of your heart.
There's no limitation for EKGs. And EKG just measures the electrical pulse activity of your heart. The heart is actually, you move as just like engine. So that's why we measure the physical movement instead of the electrical pulse. And especially for home use EKGs on one lid, the thing they can measure is very limited. So compared to that, our sound, the application for sound is very, very broad. And the information we can tell people is much more complete than EKG.
Is this product already or is it in the market? Or how many people have been using it?
We will commercially ship it next month.
Next month?
Yeah, you can put the order right now. But next month we will ship. We will start ship.
I assume you already have
And
the
it
product.
will feature on Amazon exclusive.
I assume there's quite a few people tested already. You already collected enough data to have the consistency, interpretation.
We have many medical research foundations behind it. The technology is not, we build it from one there. There's like many thousands of medical research papers based on that. And we also have our own innovation built based on those technologies.
And every device, suppose I have a device, then is the data wirelessly transmitted to your database?
Yes. It's also on your own cell phone.
I see. So the insurance company will not pitch your data?
The data is your own. And we don't work with insurance company. And the insurance company might be want to work with us because we will save them money, right? But we will not sell patients' data, and that's your own privacy.
On the app that you showed, we had some plots. What are the units of those? Are those real measured data or just qualitative numbers? For like contractility,
That's the real measure data, and for the product, that's the previous version. The new version will give you the standardized, like from 0 to 100, the normal end or from 0 to 100.
I mean, this is not my field, but I'm just looking up, and then there's some units like the contractility says the change in pressure per time, that's the pressure. That you actually get a number like that, or you say out of 10 you were 7 or 8. And if you are, I mean, how can you just measure that? Pressure, because the pressure is just one percent. It seems like there's a lot of steps in there that.
Yes, that's why I said we are trying to invest in the mathematical algorithm to calculate that. And also, there's not that simple. The basic technology.
You can actually correlate what shows up on the app to an actual physical number that be measured with the
right.
in the hospital.
Right.
Yeah. This is a pretty cool product. I'm sort of involved in some of this stuff, but it seems like I realize you're not doing diagnosis yet. It seems like your product will provide a lot of information about sort of longevity and things like this. Cardiology is probably still on the notion of figuring out what's happening kind of more immediately, if you're going to get a heart attack or if you have other sort of immediate issues for the next day or the next week. I guess my question is, how far away are they? How long do you think it would take the industry to sort of catch on to sort of what you're providing? Because you're providing a real wellness as opposed to, sounds like a real immediate diagnosis that cardiologists would want to know if you're going to have basically have a heart attack the next day.
Let me tell you something about my own experience. A few years ago, I went to medical malpractice at Kaiser. And that has 50% death rate. Luckily, I was a doctor, so we found out the problem within 48 hours. And then when we rush to the hospital, we have to push them to take a look at the problem. And that's a Friday afternoon. They want me to go back home, wait until next week. But I push them. You have to solve the problem. You have to tell me what's wrong with it. And then that night, I went to an emergency surgery. So this is how I use medical knowledge to save my life. My goal here is that even though probably the doctor don't understand the data or disagree with the data, but the data tells you something, and you ask the doctor. The doctor has to respond to it. The doctor has to think about your problem. That's how we empower patients. Because before you have no evidence, when you talk to the doctor, I know you guys are very smart engineers, scientists, but when you go to the hospital, you know nothing. And doctor can tell any story about you. So after this, I know the third reason for death in the US is medical malpractice. So that's why I definitely want to empower patients. Even though probably doctor disagree with you, you should bring this data to the doctor, ask them to explain to you. That will help you, not the doctor. Maybe the doctor will say, that's not good, I don't want to look at it because that's their job, right? For you, if you want to take responsibility for your own health, you want to bring this data to the doctor, ask them, let them to explain it to you. If they don't explain, something happens later, think about it. You will have liability, right?
Same thing. I guess what you're sort of giving me is an example of something that your data helped on something that probably would have been immediately what happened. I think if you convince the cardiologists in the industry, if your data could show something immediate, if there's a real heart attack. But I guess what I'm sort of saying is, it sounds like you're trying to convince an industry, hey, you know what, this person's heart is even though he looks young, he's actually very old. And you need to tell the doctors need to say, you know what, your heart is too old for your age, and you need to do something about it, exercise differently. That to me is more of a challenge.
Actually, don't need to persuade doctors. Doctors want to work with us. That's why we went to the American Heart Association scientific conference last year, and we were the finalists of the heart attack competition. And the group of doctors, judges are all cardiologists over there, 20 doctors over there, and they agree with us. As long as we tell them what we are marrying, and they agree, and they understand it, and they want it, because when doctors tell people to prevent heart disease, they don't have any tools, don't have any evidence for people to marry it. So now they have more data, they have more knowledge, for people.
I have a question. I talked to a cardiologist at Kaiser, and he said they've been experimenting with wearables, and their problem is there's just way too much data that they don't care about. So really they're looking for the outlier data that would trigger some action. And so would your device be able to, alert if you have an outlier condition?
Right. So all the complicated things, we want the computer to do that, because for doctors, for human beings, we don't have enough time to learn about that. So like the computer automatically, monitor it for you, and if something goes wrong, it's call out and tell you, maybe you want to talk to the doctor, or maybe you look at a trend suddenly changes. You want, people are so smart. When they see something different, they can immediately link their activities with the data. So I think without any explanation, everybody knows how to explain the data.
I have a question. So, there are a lot of these, heart rate and steps monitors and off-rate rates and all these tools here on that. Now, the biggest problem that I've heard consumers complaining is that there's an initial euphoria, initial excitement, but then most people dies down. They don't want to keep looking at the stats and heart rate. It's like the same data every day, and then they're bored of it. Right? Okay, I got it. That's my heart rate. That's my, whatever XYZ. Make it hard for you.
Hold the mic up close to your mouth, I think.
Okay, so in your case, I can definitely see doctors using it. When I go to a doctor visit, doctors using it. How do you find, or what's your idea about keeping the consumer kind of, every day I'm not going to just stop like, hey, measure and check the data because over 99.9% of the days it's the same thing every day, right? So how do you maybe go past that and get more of that using it every day? I don't want to buy another 200, 159 dollar device I checked on the website.
Let me tell you two things. First, you can get your heart rate by just touching your pulse, right? But you cannot know your heart contraction without our tool, right? It's different. First of all, they are very different complexity stuff. And the second thing is that heart contractility is really very related to your daily activities. If you drink coffee, you drink alcohol, it will change it. The problem is like you want to prevent burnout. And late night, you want to work on your project, you should sleep or you stay. If you higher, you should marry it. And the people with high blood pressure, they worry about their heart. They say, oh, I'm like, my heart, I feel it's not right for my heart, and then they go to measure the blood pressure. It tells them nothing about their heart, right? So there are sometimes, a lot of times, why people suddenly die from a heart attack? Because the symptom is atypical. They feel maybe jaw pain, or maybe their arm sore. It's all those atypical symptoms. They don't know what's going on. If they can narrow this, will give them clear ideas what's going on, so they can make much better decisions instead of if you want to know your heart rate, you can touch your pulse. If you know how many steps, at least you can have a ballpark of how many steps you walk every day. But those kind of heart contracting, heart motility, without those tools, you cannot get it. So that's why we need it.
Yes, it seems to me it's a very excellent tool, and as you've been sharing with us, you actually do have sort of, if not acceptance, acknowledgement by the core medical community. The question I have is, have you already started clinical trials? It seems to me that part of the strong value that will come from your product, one is as a brand new tool, but it needs the other collection of historical longitudinal data to further validate. I assume, because you yourself are a doctor, you already have high confidence, but for the scientific and broad community, they'll have to look at clinical trials. So have you begun clinical trials?
There's a lot of clinical trials on different
But
steps.
using your tool.
And we collect all the pieces together and create this product. And for this tool, we will do some clinical study, but not at this stage, because we already tested at CES. There are 200 people already tested, and also we tested with other users. So that's why we find that people, athletes have, overuse their heart, and people with high blood pressure.
Yeah, for wellness, it doesn't require much.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
For diagnosis, we already have some tests, internal testing.
And I can wait, so maybe you already covered. Is this available and can I buy, or what's the price?
Yeah, you can pre-order now. We will ship next month, very close. And start from April, we will be featured on Amazon exclusive too.
What would be a price range, or is it a monthly charge, or $159?
$159.
Is it a monthly charge?
A one-time charge. Monthly charge needs to start from later, because right now we give free cloud storage, and later we will provide additional analysis functions or maybe management service, and then that time we probably ask for monthly charge. But right now, the basic all this contractility, motility, you can test it properly.
And for diagnosis, you need an FDA 510K or some approval, right?
Right, that's next.
How far you are from there?
We're very close, but not from now.
And these trials, how many trials people do have?
We should not disclose that here, but we are planning it, and also we will work with the American Heart Association.
Is there any insurance company who will work with you or work in the sense for compensating clients deals?
We just start, and the insurance company has contacted us, but we are startup, step by step. Maybe later the insurance company will compensate it, but it's not expensive. Your activity tracker is 159. Just a matter of the steps you walk and your heart rate, that's 199, and the weight still 159. So I think it's, it's worth it, right?
Is this data covered by the HIPAA rules?
Excuse me?
The HIPAA rules covers the data you collect?
Yes, that's HIPAA covered. It's totally private.
So I get to
when required, you always let him ask questions for please.
Maybe last question. Do I get to own the data?
Excuse me?
Does he own the data?
Yeah, you own the data.
Can this device be used as a biofeedback device in terms of, say, you see maybe a high reading? I don't know as much about contractility and this and the other numbers, but can you, through deep reading or other methods, tune or affect that reading within a period? Or
we give you the range, population range. So that's why you see green and the red. So that's why I know that that guy heart is too old, because his heart is out of boundary of the population average. So that's why when you see green and red, you will know. But heart contractility is like your heart rate. When you work, when you drink coffee, it will shoot up. But in the morning, it should be in the green zone. That's most stable condition.
So if I see myself in red and I concentrate on slowing down my heart rate or having different heart rate variability, that would come back into reversing.
Yeah, for example, if you see something red, and then you do meditation or take a rest for half hour, it's still in the red, probably you want to monitor a few more times and then talk to your doctor what's going on. And in the morning, when you just wake up, your heart got a recharge and it's in the red zone, probably experiencing something you want to talk to your doctor.
Thanks.
Behind
you. Yeah. So my understanding is that basically we're just recording the audio and it is sound wave, right? Yeah. And as we know, I think that this thing is not going to listen to your heart for I think 100 years or something like that. Right. But somehow I remember just a couple of maybe 10 years ago, someone just invented something, adapter, such that you can put on the what we call the stethoscope, such that you can record it. You can record it and then become digitized. But my question is, what prevents the doctor, actually use that as a measuring tool for such a long time? Basically, we can look at the other measurements of your heart, and you store that. Doctor can look at measure, but not this sound wave or heartbeat. So what prevents this is that and you're talking about you got a lot of papers on that, such that you associate this with your certain heart condition. But for me, it's like there's some reason behind this, such that the doctor just using that and listening, they doesn't want, at least by now they haven't really used that, store that and manage that, measure that. So what prevents this? And suddenly it could become a tool and you measure and can look at your heart condition.
Let me give you an example. I think the question is why the doctor is not interested in the sound, but we are interested in the sound, right? Yeah. Can you listen to the music, like tell what's C, what's A, what's B? You can, right? but a computer can. That's how doctor cannot listen to all those heart contractility, motilities, but we can because it's a computer. And also, the focus is different. Doctor is focused on disease. That's why I told you, doctor, the whole healthcare system is so old, like all the doctor training is about disease. But when you have disease, they cannot do anything, like treat symptoms, right? We focus on the prevention. We tell you the functions that they cannot tell and they don't care because as a doctor, their goal is to treat the disease, to diagnose the disease. So that's why the focus is different, the thought is different. That's why, I think people should learn more so that's important. You can make your own decision for your own body. And that's the third reason for death. More people die in the hospital by accident than on the road, right? That's a very dangerous thing. That's why we need to be able to discuss with the doctor, have some sort of data and the power. Otherwise, it's easy to tell you a story. That's why I gave you that joke, like doctors learn how to write handwriting that nobody can recognize. That's by purpose. It's not by playing. It's by purpose because they don't want you to know what they are doing.
Thank you so much for bringing this device to market. I've worked in the space of medical device innovation, and it is extraordinarily difficult to get the public, ordinary people themselves, to see that they own the means of their health. It's not in the doctor's hands, it's not in the hospital's hands. It's much more dangerous to be in the clinic. I have a childhood disease, and if I ever have to go to the hospital, I actually have a small group of friends. We exchange powers of attorney, so that when we go, if and when we have to go to the hospital, we have each other's power of attorney, so we can manage each other. We don't trust the nursing staff or the doctors to do it for the same reasons that you said, you know your body so well. But the problem is that almost all medical tools in the country and the world are for doctors. There's EHR systems, there's workflow, there's measurement, there's laboratory techniques. There's almost nothing for consumers. Right. You have a thermometer, you have a glucose meter, you have a pregnancy testing. Right. Same thing we had almost in the 1930s. Right. So I totally thank you for bringing this. I live in this community and I do a lot on my own, really try to stay away from institutions. So my question is how we can tap the power of once we get these in people's hands. So are you planning something like a crowdsourced forum of learning for people who do have a device, maybe a virtual or digital place for people to go to say, hey, when I use the device, I get this result. I think it's from here. What do you get? Because I do this in my own health, and actually I have used my own personal network to replace doctors. I haven't been to a doctor in 10 years.
That's very good suggestions. We will do that later because right now we just focus on deliver the product. The next stage we will definitely build the community.
Because that I think too, that just to increase the demand. I mean, when people are aware of what it can do, you have to. It's so hard to break people of the mold that it's the doctor that controls. That is not true. You have the tool. You can control yourself at home, whenever you want, at your convenience, at home, in the bathroom, at work, wherever, in the car, wherever you are. I mean, I just think it just makes so much more sense because that's how we live. Right. So that whole community aspect is really strong. I showed you the artificial pancreas and community. I built it using artificial pancreas myself, and it's done in a crowdsourced community. So.
Yeah. In fact, most people track their own health in their mind, right? Just so we don't have the tool, we don't have the number. They have the feel of their own health. But when you go to the doctor, you forgot what to talk about. You don't know what to talk about. And they, just ask you a few questions and let you go for 5 minutes. And then you went home and you say, I forgot to tell that, I forgot to tell this, right? So but if you have data, the thing will be much easier. They can quickly understand your unique situation and discuss with you in the important things, not like, when did you have the symptoms, how long it takes, and you forgot, right? So that will, make things much easier for doctor too. And also, as a patient, when I go to hospital, I feel like very dangerous. So I have to tell. Now, when I go to the hospital, I have to tell them, like, I was a doctor. So they are afraid of me. So they will pay more attention. But in the future, I want people to bring data. I have data. So they have to take care of you carefully.
Hi, I have a follow-up question in response to this maintenance question. So you have this 20-second data chunk you will be gathering over a period of time. At what point you will have enough data to do some sort of a predictive maintenance? Like saying that in next 30 days you are going to go into a 7 cardiac.
I don't understand the question. I'm sorry.
No, no, I'm wondering you are going to collect data, 20 seconds of data, over a period of time. So you will have a lot of data of that particular person. So at what point this device or future generation of these devices will be able to do some sort of a predictive maintenance of your body, saying that next 30 days there is a cardiac event in front of you.
Right, but that will have more liability. So we have to do that carefully. But we definitely can do that in the future. Definitely. That's the purpose. That's, I see, diagnose.
No, but what I'm saying is diagnosing a chronic condition as opposed to some acute event. Like people may have some chronic condition which can be seen by all these parameters. But I mean, having a cardiac event is something that happens suddenly.
Like the heart motility I talked about, there's a lot of medical research done in that area that closely linked to death. I don't want to talk about that, but closely linked to death, heart failure, and hospitalization. So that one is really, that's why I said that's the bellwether of your heart health. At this stage, we don't want to disclose, tell people that you probably have cardiac event, but definitely we can give people warnings. You can see the trend. If you, before you this and suddenly in the morning it just shoot up, you want to check a few more times. And normally this indication is much earlier when you have symptoms. Because in a lot of times when people have heart failure, they have symptoms like shortness of breath, and they have swollen hand and feet. That's very late stage. Long before that, this heart motility will change. Yes.
What hardware is required to use your device?
What's that?
What hardware is required to use your device?
Is iPhone, iPad. Later this year, we probably have Android system, but right now it's on iOS system. So as long as you have iPhone, iPad, or iPod, and the device will connect to that. And maybe later this year, we will have Android system. You can connect to your Android phone too.
But not to a computer.
Not to a computer because that's not convenient.
I understand that you are just listening to the sound of the heart.
Right.
Okay. So why do we need your advice? You can put cell phone directly on the heart.
That's not accurate. That's not medical quality.
Yeah, but if somebody, some manufacturer makes a very good microphone with that quality, the quality, then your device is not. Yes, your algorithm is valuable, definitely. There's no replacement. But for that device, if a manufacturer makes a very good microphone of that quality,
that's good. Everybody can use their phone to check it, and our system will analyze
it. Right. And then your algorithm will tell us what has been done.
Yeah.
That is more efficient.
Right.
And that's good. If your device is becoming popular, then that's what is going to happen. Somebody will put a very good microphone in the system. And
we are not inventing the device.
Yeah, exactly. That device is going to go. And it has happened. So many other devices, people want to carry only one.
First thing is, there is a difficulty because the microphone on your smartphone is different. The thing we listen is different. So
it's more than the sound. It's more than sound. Ultrasound or ultra frequency, low frequency, high frequency.
It's really like listen to your speak and listen to the hummingbird sound is different. You know, the sound is very complicated.
It's 20 to 20K that's the sound frequency.
That probably happen in the future.
Yeah.
But recently we have to have a specialized device to make sure the signal is professional quality.
This one is more than the normal sound. That's what.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I have a question, like on your website, you have 4 items.
Right.
And the last one, heart rate, I understand, that's 65 per second. That's, as an electrical engineer, I understand that. But you have stress equals 69.47. I mean, what does that mean? What are the units?
That's the population average, your percentage within the population.
So it's just empirical, some number based on some weighting, or I mean, as an engineer, I want to know what exactly you're measuring, or how you put your algorithm to get that. Because otherwise, it's just
the normalized weighted average. Compare a number with the population average, normal range.
Okay, but what is stress? I mean, what are you measuring when you say stress?
It's HRV.
Oh, high rate variability. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and the other ones too. I mean, are they actually, do they correspond to a real measurable, parameter that's measured?
Of course, we didn't make up the number.
Oh, okay. Are those algorithms and how you come up with those numbers, and when are they ever going to be published?
Right, we will publish paper later. Yeah, currently because we're still in research stage. Later, after we make sure the IP is protected, we will publish paper that what it is.
I have one question. On your dashboard, you have red and green. So, how long do you need to take measurements to establish a baseline before you can project?
The baseline is, of course, more data you take, the better. But normally it will take a few weeks to 1 month. You will get your baseline because there's maybe difference. You have diabetes or something, some other factors. Create a baseline is really because that your true value reflects your heart conditions. Sometimes maybe your emotion or maybe drinking coffee, your sleep position or something will affect the numbers. But over a period of time, like a few weeks to a few months, it will create an average.
So if I buy the hardware today, I should ignore at least for the first week any signs on the dashboard?
No, it is, like the CES, people take just one-time test, but we compare it with population. It's pretty accurate, but because everybody is unique, you should, create your own baseline.
It's on your website that, and if I'm wrong, but you tie it directly to the iOS because the wireless signals from the Bluetooth wouldn't be beneficial. So do you think that there's an issue with having a hard device, right on your heart that has a wireless signal?
I think that's most safe way to collect data because if people have pacemaker, probably not is one thing. The other thing is that you don't need to charge this device. Anytime as long as your phone works, connect to your phone, it works. So that's very easy, right? Sometimes I always forgot to charge my device, like my earbud, I always forgot. But this thing, you don't need to charge it, just plug to your phone, that's it. It's much easier to use it.
So from your app, are you going to integrate with other quantified self sort of apps for tracking and things like that? You mentioned about other variables that can have an impact, such as running on sleep, coffee, energy drinks. Right. So if you're creating a baseline, sometimes you want to enter these other variables in as part of tracking, right? Because I just drank coffee in the morning, then I took a measurement, it may have had an impact. And quantified self apps, which everything from blood pressure to sleep hours and stuff like that. A lot of people want to see it all in a single dashboard. Are you going to be working with those types of companies?
We may work with companies, but right now, after you married, we will ask what's your activity. Are you just get up from bed, or you are just exercising or working? So this activity is really correlated with your data. That's why we see baseline. Each time after you married, we will ask, what's your activity? How do you feel? And what's your blood pressure? We correlate all those things with your data, so we can analyze it.
Okay, so the baseline, you're encouraging people to take it every morning at the same time when they wake up, so you have a consistent baseline.
Right, in the morning. Not every morning, but most time in the morning, because if you go to the hospital, you will know that each morning nurse will take your, blood pressure, temperature. That's the most, stable data. Because when you just wake up, all those things are very stable. So that's why we need to create that. We need to measure it at that time.
Okay, and you mentioned blood pressure a couple of times, right? This doesn't measure blood pressure, so you need a separate device for that, right?
It doesn't, but you can see there's a very close correlation with your heart contractility and blood pressure. Right. And we don't see it in mirror because everybody is different. The thing is that high blood pressure will not kill people. The only thing is that if you have high blood pressure, your heart is continuously working under stress. The workload is too high. That's why people get a heart disease when they have high blood pressure. So that's why when people have high blood pressure, they need to watch whether or not their blood pressure, put too much workload on their heart. So maybe that's a good way to help people to see if the medicine for their high blood pressure is effective for them to prevent heart disease.
Okay, and then my last question is, do you have a sample of the device here? Can we see it?
Yeah, you can try after.
Quick question, is this going to be integrated with Apple's Health Kit?
Maybe, but now we are working independently. If depends on the user's demand. If user they want to, desperately want to integrate their health data, we are open with that. It's no problem.
My question is kind of related. Is there a standard in terms of the signal, quality, for example, the signal noise ratio, or the frequency range, and also the data format of the storage of the transmit? So, do your product compatible with that standard?
There's standard way to look at the signals, but our innovation is to find the patterns, to link the pattern with your heart conditions.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
In the medical community, the industry,
medical industry does not have standard for that. It's just that people, look at the signal and they have some standard for diagnosis, a standard for not standard. It's just there's standard for diagnosis, but this one is basically the method we use, the fundamental is same.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, lots of questions. So let's give a big hand to Pete. So we've got another 5 minutes. Then we have to clear out this room by 8:30. So I think speakers stick around a little longer.
Thank you. So if anybody wants to,
and then next month, the same 4 Tuesday, this room's not available, so check our website.
We're looking for volunteers.
Sure, if you want.
Sure.
You can leave a contact.
Sure. You need my contact?
Yeah, do you have a business card?
Oh,
I would like to try.